vitamin K, vitamin B6 and vitamin C. Now we'll discuss another important vitamin, which is vitamin B9 Folic Acid. It is known as trial monoglutamate. अभी इसका structure देखेंगे. Folic acid contain pyridine nucleus, पैरामाइनोबेंजोइक एसिड एंड ग्लूटामिक एसिड. देखो मैंने नंबरिंग की हुई है 1 2 3. ये 3 चीजें होती हैं इसके अंदर, राइट. दिस कैन कम इन द वन इनकरेक्ट आंसर. देखो 3 करेक्ट चीजें, एक कोई भी अगर इनकरेक्ट बहुत आसान है, एक इसके अलावा एनीथिंग विच इज एडेड शुड बी इनकरेक्ट. Yes, this is the structure. You know, I have several times told you that I tell you the structure only to give you an image. कैसा होता है. You can see here the pyridine ring and the paraminobenzoic acid and the glutamic acid, and all the three, they are linked together to form the vitamin B9, that is the folic acid. Here you can see the मज़ेदार से fruits हैं, dry fruits हैं, and all of them, they contain the folic acid. They are the very good source of the folic acid. Then this is the recommended dietary allowances, that is how much a newborn require, children require, and how much the adults require in the pregnancy and the breastfeeding, how much it is required. Now, biosynthesis. Humans cannot synthesize the folate and therefore must obtain folate from their diet. In the diet, folate exists as polyglutamate. The body can store about 20 to 70 milligram of folate in the liver, and folate are eliminated from the liver by the bile. Bile में जाते हैं, वहाँ से फिर वो dispose of. Now here you can see folate, it exists as polyglutamate. Remember this thing. ठीक है, इसमें कोई स्लाइड में ऐसी बात नहीं है which I should take extra effort to explain to you. Absorption. Absorption, it takes place in the small intestine, basically in the jejunum. It is absorbed. For absorption, in the last slide I told you that remember this word polyglutamate. ठीक है? So for absorption, polyglutamate is enzymatically converted to folate monoglutamate. Right? Poly टूट जाता है, monoglutamate are formed by the enzyme folate reductase, which is present in the jejunal mucosa. Folic acid is absorbed much better than the folate. You know that absorption takes place in the intestine, so all the diseases which affects the intestine, they interfere with the absorption of the folic acid. Diffuse inflammatory or degenerative diseases of small intestine such as Crohn's disease, celiac disease, chronic enteritis. So all these fistula, all these diseases, which one way or the other, they affect the intestine, they affect the folate absorption. Now, what is the difference between folate and folic acid? Folic acid is the synthesized version that is commonly used in the processed foods and supplements. जो आप लेते हैं, it is folic acid. Folate found in whole foods such as leafy vegetable, eggs, and citrus fruit. Once the folate enters the circulation, अब circulation में आ गए, blood में आ गए, absorb होने के बाद, now the cell will uptake the folate, and this cellular uptake occurs within the minutes. It is very important, one thing, that it is transported in the blood as methyltetrahydrofolate bound to a specific protein. Metabolically active form. all of the biological functions of folic acid are performed by the tetrahydrofolate and its methylated derivatives. Liver convert folate into tetrahydrofolate. For one correct answer, folate is converted to tetrahydrofolate by the liver, by the intestine, by the muscles, by the heart. What is the correct answer? Liver. Folate refers to many forms of folic acid and its related compounds. कौन से है? That is, folic acid is present in many forms. ठीक है? Tetrahydrofolic acid, active form, methyl tetrahydrofolate, the primary form found in the blood, right? Methinyl, यहाँ पे क्या है देखो, मिथाइल है. मिथिनाइल यानी जिसमें डबल बॉन्ड है, right? Methynyl tetrahydrofolate, folinic acid, folacin, teryl glutamic acid. So all these are the forms, ये 6 forms जो हैं, all of these they refer to vitamin B9, that is the folic acid. Bioactivation. Folic acid must first be reduced to tetrahydrofolate. The reduction takes place in 2 steps by the enzyme dihydrofolate reductase. Which enzyme convert the folic acid into its active form? Dihydrofolate reductase. Folic acid is first directly tetrahydrofolate में नहीं होता है convert. It is first reduced to dihydrofolate and then to tetrahydrofolate. And each step it consumes one molecule of NADPH. देखो reduction हो रही है ना? It means के hydrogen is required, right? One mole derived, and from where it is derived? This is vitamin B3, niacin, right? So this is the niacin, a niacin derivative. One molecule of NADP is produced. It's obviously बात है, hydrogen add हो गया folic acid को. So what will be the end product? NADP. Here you can see the reaction. First step, folate is converted to dihydrofolate, and then the same reductase enzyme then convert dihydrofolate to tetrahydrofolate. Here you can see the NADPH. It is derived from vitamin B3. Formation of 5,10 methynyl tetrahydrofolate. सेकेंड फॉर्म अभी हमने डिस्कस किया था ना कि इसके बहुत सारे 6 फॉर्म्स होते हैं, ठीक है? तो अब दूसरा फॉर्म क्या है? 5,10 मिथाइलिन टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट. 1 कार्बन मिथाइल ग्रुप, ठीक है, is added to tetrahydrofolate through the action of enzyme serine hydroxy methyltransferase. Serine hydroxy methyltransferase. ठीक है? So 1 methyl group is added to this, and this reaction to form 5,10 methylene tetrahydrofolate. Tetrahydrofolate के पर methyl group add हो जाता है, and in this way 5,10 methylene tetrahydrofolate is formed. This reaction also consumes serine and vitamin B6, that is the pyridoxal phosphate, and produce glycine and pyridoxal. Only pyridoxal लिखा है. यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है देखो? pyridoxal phosphate लिखा है, right? This reaction consumes serine and B6. Pyridoxal phosphate utilized होता है, and what is produced? Glycine is produced and pyridoxal is produced. Here you can see the reaction. मेरा pointer देखो, and 5 and 10 methylene tetrahydrofolate is formed, and here is the enzyme serine hydroxy methylase कह लो, methyltransferase कह लो, whatever you want to remember you can remember. देखो इसको भी, ये जो सारी चीज है, ये 3 डब्बे, ये क्या है? This is the folic acid. यहाँ से यहाँ तक फोलिक एसिड है, ठीक है। टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट फॉर्म है इसकी, इट इज कन्वर्टेड टू द टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट। देखो कितना आसान तरीका बताया है। मैंने आपको बहुत दफ़ा कहा है कि डोंट गो इनटू द डिटेल ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर। ये स्ट्रक्चर मैं सिर्फ आपको इसलिए बताती हूँ टू रिमेंबर कि क्या क्या होता है। हियर यू कैन सी फोलिक एसिड। जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया था लेक्चर, आई टोल्ड यू इट इज़ कंपोज्ड ऑफ 3 थिंग्स: टेरिडीन, para-amino benzoic acid, and the glutamate. So this whole total 3 boxes, totally it is known as folic acid. This folic acid is converted to tetrahydrofolate. Then serine, it utilizes serine and it is converted into N5 and 10 methylene tetrahydrofolate. Then NADH is utilized, and in this way N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate is produced. So what N5 and 10 methylene tetrahydrofolate, it forms N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. देखो कहानी क्या है, फोलिक एसिड, टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट, N5 and 10 methylene tetrahydrofolate and N5 tetrahydrofolate. अभी मैंने पीछे आपको दिखाया है ना, फॉर्मेशन ऑफ N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate is carried by methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase. NADH था ना बेटा, देखो जहाँ जहाँ NADH NADPH का काम आएगा वहाँ पे क्या होगा, एक रिडक्शन हो रही है, रिडक्टेज रिड्यूस कर रहा है, ठीक है। अब दूसरा एंजाइम एक और आता है, a second enzyme, methylene tetrahydrofolate dehydrogenase. ये क्या करता है, ये 5,10 methylene tetrahydrofolate को ऑक्सीडाइज करता है and it forms 5 formyl tetrahydrofolate, 10 formyl tetrahydrofolate. समझ आया? So पहले देखो रिडक्शन हुई, N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate बना, ठीक है। फिर ये मिथाइलिन टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट डिहाइड्रोजिनेज जो है ये ऑक्सीडाइज करेगा 5,10 मिथाइलिन टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट को टू प्रोड्यूस 5 फॉर्माइल टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट एंड 10 फॉर्माइल टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट। हम पीछे जाएं क्या स्लाइड पे, देखो ये ऑक्सीडाइज होगा एंड दिस कैन ऑक्सीडाइज। देखो एक तरफ से ये रिड्यूस हो रहा है, ये ऑक्सीडाइज होगा and this can form the N5 tetrahydrofolate, this can form the 5 formyl tetrahydrofolate and 10 formyl tetrahydrofolate. ये देखो 10 formyl tetrahydrofolate, right? ये देखो वही वाला रिएक्शन है, ये डिहाइड्रोजिनेज एंजाइम यहाँ एक्ट हुआ और ये इस तरह से ये एक इंटरमीडिएट बना, राइट। देन N-formyl tetrahydrofolate is produced. फोलिनिक एसिड फिफ्थ वाला जो था ना, उसमें जो मैंने आपको 6 टाइप्स बताए थे, तो उसमें फिफ्थ क्या है, फोलिनिक एसिड। दिस इज वन ऑफ द एक्टिव फॉर्म ऑफ फोलिक एसिड, अ फॉर्माइल डेरिवेटिव. फोलिनिक एसिड इज केमिकली डिफरेंट टू फोलिक एसिड but different from folic acid, but both work in a similar way. It is a reduced form of tetrahydrofolate with a formyl group on position 5. यानी टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट ही होता है, बस क्या होता है कि उस पे 5 पोजीशन के ऊपर फॉर्माइल ग्रुप लगा हुआ होता है। Here you can see, ये देखो, ये मेरा पॉइंटर दिख रहा है तुम लोगों को, ये देखो N डबल बॉन्ड O, दिस इज द फॉर्माइल ग्रुप। N के साथ क्या लगा है, C, ये जो कॉर्नर है ना, इट इज C डबल बॉन्ड O. मेटाबॉलिक फंक्शंस पे अब आ जाते हैं। वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल ऑफ फोलिक एसिड. मेन फंक्शन ऑफ टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट इन मेटाबॉलिज्म इज टू ट्रांसपोर्ट सिंगल कार्बन ग्रुप. ये सिंगल कार्बन ग्रुप जो होते हैं ना, ये मिथाइल ग्रुप भी हो सकता है, CH3 ग्रुप मिथाइल ग्रुप, CH2 ग्रुप मिथाइलिन ग्रुप, and CHO group, formyl group. These carbon groups can be transferred to other molecules, and in this way they participate in the synthetic reactions. They help in the synthesis of other important molecules. Biosynthetic role, it is folic acid is utilized in various chemical reactions involved in cellular metabolism. ठीक है? And these reactions are known as folate mediated one carbon metabolism. यानी ये देखो यार, जहाँ पे भी मिथाइल ग्रुप ऐड हो रहा होगा, फॉर्माइल ग्रुप ऐड हो रहा होगा, या मिथाइलिन ग्रुप ऐड हो रहा होगा, इससे हम क्या कहेंगे? एडिशन ऑफ वन कार्बन मेटाबॉलिज्म. टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट रिसीव वन कार्बन. अच्छा, अब ये वन कार्बन यार आते कहाँ से हैं? हमने तो बड़े मजे से कह दिया ना कि हम मिथाइलिन ग्रुप अटैच कर देंगे तो फॉर्माइल ग्रुप कर देंगे तो मिथाइलिन ग्रुप कर देंगे. इनका डोनर कौन है यार? सो हु इज द डोनर? serine, glycine, histidine. ठीक है? And transfer them to the intermediates for the synthesis of amino acids, purines and pyrimidines of the DNA. Folate are essential for the synthesis of DNA. So अभी आप लोगों ने प्यूरिन पायरिमिडीन की सिंथेसिस नहीं पढ़ी है. जब आप पढ़ोगे the nucleic acid metabolism, then you will see कि प्यूरिन सिंथेसिस जो है इसके अंदर B9 यूज होता है, टेट्राहाइड्रोफोलेट यूज होता है. Modification of DNA and RNA, that is post-translational modifications. Synthesis of methionine from homocysteine. Folic acid is also essential for the rapid growth of cells during pregnancy, infancy and adolescence due to the production of RNA and DNA. क्यों? देखो यार, प्यूरिन की सिंथेसिस हो रही है, पायरिमिडीन की सिंथेसिस हो रही है, and during this synthesis the folic acid is required. Where they are utilized, purine and pyrimidine, where they are utilized? They are utilized in the synthesis of DNA during the replication of DNA. So whenever there is a new development or a fetus is there, or the rapid growth is there, adolescence is there, it means that the rapid cell division is required. Cell divide हो रहा है. तो सेल खाली डिवाइड नहीं हो रहा है, बल्कि जो डीएनए है इट इज ऑल्सो रेप्लिकेटिंग. Synthesis of the new DNA is taking place, and for the synthesis of new DNA you require purine and pyrimidine bases, and for the synthesis of the purine and pyrimidine bases you require folic acid. One more देखो, deoxyuridine monophosphate. It is converted into thymidine monophosphate. You know uridine monophosphate? It is a basic unit of the RNA. So it is converted to thymidine monophosphate. Thymine is present in the DNA, and it means it leads to the DNA synthesis. In the similar way, here you can see it leads to the DNA methylation. So basically देखो, मैंने आपको पूरा डायग्राम याद करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. मैंने सिर्फ आपको ये बताया है कि how it is utilized during the formation of the DNA. Right? Here you can see 5,10 methylene tetrahydrofolate. It is converted to dihydrofolate, and when it is converted to dihydrofolate, it combines with DUMP and it is converted to thymidine monophosphate, and this thymidine monophosphate is required for DNA synthesis. Right? So what happens? You just follow my pointer or whatever I am teaching you. 5,10 methylene tetrahydrofolate. It is converted to dihydrofolate, right? Dihydrofolate is also formed from the folic acid, and this then combines with the deoxyuridine monophosphate, and deoxyuridine monophosphate then after combining with this dihydrofolate, it converts to deoxythymidine monophosphate, and in this way the DNA synthesis takes place. It plays an important role in the development of the brain of the fetus, obviously. When cell division is taking place, DNA replication is taking place, pyrimidine synthesis is taking place, and therefore it plays an important role during pregnancy, during the development of the fetus. Pregnant mothers are given supplemental doses of folic acid so that there is appropriate development of fetus, and also to prevent the neural tube defects, that is the birth defects in the newborns. Vitamin B9 works in conjunction with other vitamins such as B12 for the production of the RBC. It works with the B12 for the production of the RBC. अब ये कैसे होगा यार? N5, देखो ये सारी चीज़ें मैं आपको पहले बता चुकी हूँ. What is N5, N10 methyl tetrahydrofolate, what is N10 methyl tetrahydrofolate, what is N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate, right? So it requires B12 and 5 methyl tetrahydrofolate. It requires B12, and in this way it is converted to tetrahydrofolate, and tetrahydrofolate is required in the DNA synthesis and the DNA replication. It also works with vitamin B6 and B12 to control the serum level of homocysteine. It also works folic acid, right? Folic acid also works with vitamin B6 and B12 to control the serum level of homocysteine, and therefore B9 has been found to be important in maintaining the functioning of heart, as it controls the level of the homocysteine. Homocysteine level control is very important. Homocysteine level control is very important. If the homocysteine level increases, then it indicates the heart dysfunctioning. Why? Because it is associated with artery damage, artery hardening, and clot formation. And you know it very well that all these three indications, they are related with the heart dysfunction. So here you can see how B12 and B6, they work with folic acid to control the homocysteine level. ये देखो, ये homocysteine है, यहाँ पे methionine synthase enzyme है, it requires B12, और यहाँ पे ये क्या है देखो, 5 methyl tetrahydrofolate है. Homocysteine, it combines with 5 methyl tetrahydrofolate in the presence of methionine synthase, which require vitamin B12, and in this way the tetrahydrofolate is formed and homocysteine is converted to methionine, right? And this is the possible way to control the level of homocysteine. Once again, how the homocysteine level can be controlled, ये देखो, Homocysteine, it combines with 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate in the presence of the enzyme methionine synthase, and vitamin B12 is required as a coenzyme, and in this way homocysteine is converted to methionine, and the other product formed is the tetrahydrofolate. Another thing, homocysteine then combines with serine. This also requires vitamin B6, and cystathione is formed. Cystathione then again utilizes cystathione esterase enzyme, and vitamin B6 is required, and in this way it is converted to cysteine, and cysteine is converted into glutathione, and the hydrogen sulfide is released. So in this way you can see that how folic acid, in addition to or along with B6 and B12, maintain the level of the homocysteine. And you know why the level of the homocysteine is required to maintain? If the level of homocysteine is increased, it will damage the artery, it will block the arteries by the blood clot formation, and it will harden the artery. So the elevated level of the homocysteine is not a good indicator of heart function. RBC folate. Folate is incorporated into the RBC during erythropoiesis. What is erythropoiesis? RBC formation, and is retained there during the entire lifespan with only slight fall in concentration. Okay? And red cell folate is a reliable indicator of folate status in the body. So folate is required for the maturity of the RBC, for the formation of the RBC. What is erythropoiesis? Formation of the RBCs. Folic acid antagonist. एंटागोनिस्ट हम उसे कहते हैं कि जो किसी चीज के अगेंस्ट काम कर रहा है. देखो यार, फोलिक एसिड क्या बना रहे हैं? डीएनए की सिंथेसिस कर रहे हैं, राइट? प्यूरिन पायरिडीन बेसिस की सिंथेसिस कर रहे हैं. Where the purine and pyrimidine bases are used, they are used in the DNA and the RNA. ठीक है? अच्छा, अब अगर प्यूरिन पायरिडीन बेसिस नहीं होंगे, डीएनए की रेप्लिकेशन नहीं होगी, सेल डिवीजन नहीं होगा, सेल मल्टीप्लिकेशन नहीं होगी, एंड द सेल ग्रोथ विल बी रिस्ट्रिक्टेड. ठीक है, बात समझ आ गई? अच्छा यार देखो, अब कैंसर का ट्रीटमेंट किस तरह करते हैं कि अनरिक्वायर्ड सेल्स जो होते हैं या अनरिस्ट्रिक्टेड सेल्स जो होते हैं उनको ख़त्म करना होता है. ठीक है, तो हाउ इज़ इट पॉसिबल टू ब्रेक देयर डीएनए? क्योंकि मल्टीप्लिकेशन कहाँ से हो रही है? देखो, फसाद की जड़ क्या है? डीएनए है. म्यूटेंट डीएनए और रॉन्ग डीएनए result in wrong replication. Wrong replication of DNA will result in the cell division having the wrong DNA. सब कुछ गलत हो जाएगा. ठीक है? In this way, the cancer spread. Now, what is the function of the folic acid antagonist? To break the DNA, to break the purine and the pyrimidine nucleotides, to inhibit the DNA replication. अब वो डीएनए रेप्लिकेशन को किस तरह से करते? इनहिबिटर्स डाल देते, एनालॉग्स डाल देते हैं. ठीक है, जैसा से यूरेसिल है ना, तो इसका एनालॉग क्या? 5-fluorouracil. So it is used as an anti-cancer medicine. In this way, the multiplication of the cell stop, cell division stop, cancer cell division stops, and in this way, up to an extent, I will not say the cure, but up to an extent, the cancer cell multiplication is restricted. And this is seen in leukemia and other malignant growths. Malignant growths, other types of tumor cells. Majority of the folate antagonist, अभी मैंने आपको बताया ना, are anti-cancer drugs. जो कि dihydrofolate reductase को inhibit कर देती हैं, thus inhibit the formation of the tetrahydrofolic acid, for example methotrexate. And what happens? DNA replication stops, cell multiplication stops, and the cancer cell growth is somewhat controlled or restricted.